I'm gonna kill that box. Hello all, this is David from Sunward Hobbies, and today we're going to be comparing some RLM paints. In 1933, the Reich Air Ministry, or the Reichsluftfahrtministerium, established a standardized selection of colors for all military aircraft to use. This ranged from many shades of gray to many shades of green to several shades of brown too. Now, in terms of hobby paints, there are some brands here and there that have a few RLM colors, but there's really only 3 that I can think of that include most of, if not the whole range. There is AK Rio Color, Vallejo Model Air, and Ammo Atom paints. So we are going to take a look at a few swatches from each paint from these lines here, and I've got the historically accurate RLM color sheet from 1938 here to compare them to, and we'll see which one, or if any of them, are 100% accurate. There is all of our colors lined up for inspection. Now, if you are an RLM purist, which if you are, what are you, a Nazi? Anyway, you may notice there are some colors missing here, such as RLM 01, 23, or 24. But those are just essentially the standard silver, red, and blue colors. So I didn't really feel I had to add these. I just wanted to focus on the important colors that were used on German aircraft in the Second World War. So that is what I picked, and that is what we are going to test. And one other note, Atom did not have an RLM 80 paint, and Vallejo does not have an 81 version 2 paint. So those two will be disqualified. But for everything else, I will be taking some disposable micro brushes, which you can find at Sunward Hobbies. And we're going to test every one of these paints out. So I'm going to speed up time to not keep you here all day. And once I've painted everything, we'll give it a little time to dry, and then we will make our final assessment. Welcome back. So as you can see, every color has been painted on. It's had some time to dry. So now it's time to zoom in for a closer look and compare it to the RLM's color chart. And to start off, we're going to take a look at RLM 02. This was basically the first color that the RLM issued, aside from bare metal silver. This was the color that was used to prime the interiors of all aircraft from its inception in 1933 till around 1941. That's when they moved over to RLM 66. They also use this color for some camouflage schemes as well. They'd usually pair it with either RLM 70 or 71. But how accurate is these three colors, or which one is the most accurate? So if I compare it to the RLM's own standard issue, the real color looks to me more yellow. The Atom one is more green, and the Vallejo one is more gray. So if we're going by this, which does claim to be accurate, well, honestly, neither of them really blow me away, but I would have to say Atom is the closest. So we'll give this point to Atom. Also, my apologies, I forgot to mention that this color was named Grow. Anyway, moving on to 04, which is Gelb. It's basically a golden yellow. Luftwaffe used this for mainly aircraft identification in the early parts of the war, just so ground troops wouldn't fire on their own planes. So these three colors, pretty similar. The Atom is the darkest and deepest. Vallejo is the lightest, although that could just be because I may have gone a little light with it with the brush. So if we compare it to the swatch, I would say it's a toss-up between AK and Atom. I think I would go with AK. The Atom one I find is just a little too dark. And Vallejo, who I use personally, I always found their RLM 04 too light and not deep enough. So I will give this one to AK. Now RLM 65. This was the standard color used for the bellies of many aircraft in the early stages of the war. Around, again, 1941's when they switched over to 76. It's usually described as a fairly deep light blue. So that's the one there. The AK is pretty close. Atom is not close at all. That's too green. And Vallejo, it's better, but it's still a little too green. So, yeah, I think that one's pretty obvious. AK. Did I forget to say the paint name again? Sorry. 65 is called Hellblow. Now on to 66, which is Schwarzgrau. Basically a very dark gray with a hint of blue. This was the color that they moved on to for interior colors after 1941. This was never used on the exterior of an aircraft. Funny thing though, cockpits switched over to this However, things like Bombays or wheel wells stuck with O2. Here comes the swatch, that one right there. So it's basically very dark gray with a hint of a bluish green. AK basically just looks like black, so I don't think that's the winner. Atom is a little too light. Vallejo, though, to me, looked spot on. So, way to go, Vallejo. You're on the board, finally. Now, 70, which is called Schwarz Grün, also known as black green. This was usually paired along with 71 for maritime color schemes. Basically, any aircraft that would be flying around or over water. A lot of flying boats and bombers in the Battle of Britain era used these. It was also used commonly for propeller hubs. Let's check out the swatch. AK is not bad. It's a little yellow. Atom, that's pretty close. And so is Vallejo. It's really hard to tell the difference between these two. Let me see this again. I think Atom might be slightly more green, which is what it looks like on the swatch. So I'll barely give it to Atom. Number 71, the color again paired with 70. The lighter green to contrast with the dark green, although it is quite subtle. So our swatch, AK is again a little yellow. Atom, pretty close. Vallejo is not close at all. Way too yellow. I think I'll have to give it again to Atom. I forgot to say the name yet again. So RLM 71 is Dunkelgrün. And if I forget one more time, I'm ending this video. All right, number 74. Now this was when the Luftwaffe started changing their main color scheme to match more urban camouflage. So focused more on grays and greens as opposed to different shades of green. This, I believe, started getting issued around 1941, starting with 74, which is a Grün-Grau, or gray-green. And here's our swatch. AK, kind of dark. Atom looks pretty close. Vallejo, pretty close as well. Although the swatch looks a little more vibrant, if you would say. Like a little more blue. Well, greenish blue. So yeah, Atom looks to be the closest yet again. Number 75, Mittelgrau. Basically a gray with a purplish hue to it. AK, pretty close. Atom, nope. too light and too purple. Vallejo, it's more gray and less blue. So I would say AK wins this round. Number 76, Lit Blow, the belly color of Luftwaffe aircraft from the mid to late war. And here's your swatch. Although I personally think this swatch is too blue. From what I've seen, 76 is supposed to be a very pale blue. But, I mean, it's right from the RLM. I can't really dispute it. So, AK, although I think it looks good, it's too pale. Atom, too green. Vallejo, I think that looks good too, but again, not from what the swatch says. Well, I guess the closest would be Vallejo. So now we have 78, and this is where it gets more tricky, as since this was issued in 1938, it ends at 76, as everything past that didn't get issued yet. So from here on, I'm going to have to rely on other sources and my memory. So 78, or Himmelblau, that is the belly color used for tropical Luftwaffe aircraft. Basically anything that served in a desert environment. I did find this photo of a Bf-109. So as you can see, the belly is a slightly darker blue than the usual 65 or 76. So AK, a little dark. Atom, no, almost looks like a turquoise. Vallejo, it's just as dark as AK, but more green. I'm just going by my opinion here, but I think that Vallejo is the closest. Now for an interesting one, 79, also called Sandgelb. That's basically the main color of the desert camo. Now, the odd thing is, there were two different versions of this. An early version that was lighter and a little more yellow, and a later version that was darker and more brown. Now, AK 3rd Gen mates both versions. However, Real Color only mates the early version. So yeah, as I mentioned, the AK one, lighter, more yellow. Honestly, it almost looks like a flesh color. Atom, I think that's too yellow. And Vallejo, their version, they only make one, and it's the late version, which is more brown. So technically, AK and Vallejo are the most accurate to their respective versions. Screw it, I'll be nice. And 80, that was basically a complementary accent color. to help camouflage tropical aircraft. That's basically what those green dots are all over this BF 109. So yeah, pretty tricky to determine what'll be the accurate one. As I mentioned earlier, we only have 2 contenders for this category. So the AK one, pretty dark, and the Vallejo one is lighter. I would say AK. Now here's where we get crazy. The enigmatic RLM 81. Basically, RLM 81 and 82 were the very late war color schemes. And if you know your history, at this point in the war, Germany was not having a fun time. They were more busy just trying to survive than worrying about what color their aircraft were. There's 2 different versions of 81. There's a more green version, Dunkelgrün, and a more brown version, Braun Violet. Both are accurate. They were both really used in the war. They never really bothered to put this on paper, which is why there were 2 different versions. It was basically just up to the manufacturer, just throw it on, get it out there. For reference, I've got this DO 335 with this one has the more green RLM 81 on it, this darker color. So for comparison, Vallejo disqualified from this round. Looks to me like Adam is the more accurate one. And for version 3, I've got a different picture of a DO 335 with the brown color to it. AK, maybe. Let's look at the other ones. Adam. That's pretty good. Vallejo, too light. So, toss up between AK and Adam. You know what? I think I'll go with Adam again. And now we've reached our last color, 82 Hellgrün. This was the color that was usually paired with 81. And again, I'll bring out the 335 for reference. AK's close, but it might be a little dark. Adam also close, but a little yellow. Vallejo, again close, but it might be a little too dark. Well, to me, the Vallejo looks a little more yellow, which I think closer matches this picture. So that is what I will go with. In conclusion, this was actually closer than I was expecting. I fully expected AK real color to clean sweep, but it ended up being really close. AK had 5 winners, Adam had 6, and Vallejo had 5. So, which paint brand makes the most accurate RLM colors? I don't know. Who cares? I mean, half the time the Germans didn't know what they were using, so why should you? Bottom line, use what you want. If you think it looks right, do it. Except don't paint a Desert Stuka magenta. That's just dumb. Well, thanks for watching this video. You can find all those paints that I tested on our website at Sunward Hobbies, or you can buy them in store. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials, and until the next one, time to man up. Pack this. Adios.